Welcome everyone tonight for our second or third to last Q&A forum. We started this group addressing the federal elections and now brought it to the local level because at the local level, your vote has the most impact and you have the most say in who gets elected. To quote Tip O'Neill, or I don't know if he was the original person who said this, but all politics is local. We will do our best to be as unbiased as humanly possible on this forum. We have conducted several of these forums in the past weeks, and thus far they have been uneventful. That being said, you never know. So we like to run smoothly, and the only blunders pretty much have been made by me. I'm not a professional interviewer. I don't anticipate any issues tonight, but just in case, I will remind everyone to treat the candidates with respect. The candidates did not have to appear here today, and I'm thanking them for their participation. I'm hosting this tonight with Judy Aronson, who will ask the questions that are posted in the chat, and Scott Holgren, another admin, who will serve as our so-called bouncer in the hopefully unlikely event someone tries to be inappropriate with the candidate. The protocol is introduction, approximately 3 minutes for each candidate. I'm not timing it because there's only 2 of them. And also a closing for approximately 3 minutes as well. I will start the questioning, and thereafter, please feel free to post questions in the chat. Judy will read the questions along with the name of the person asking the question. If you're incognito, in other words, if you have a phone, like a cell phone number that shows up in the chat, please provide your name and where you're from. Otherwise, Judy will not ask the question. We're trying to be as fair as possible to the candidates by having this to be as transparent as possible. It would make Judy's life a lot easier if you could post a cue or question if there's a lot of people that come on later, if there's a lot of comments in there, because she may miss your comment or your question rather. Tonight, we have with us trustee Alison Pure-Slovin and candidate Nathan Norman. I know Alison from running into her at holiday parties and different events like that. And also, of course, by seeing her on the board. I haven't mentioned this in the prior Q&As, but I was a trustee from 2013 to 2021. So I know what their job entails. I met Nathan because someone told me he was a great candidate and told me to contact him and say hello, and I did. And I've run into him since then at different forums, and we have a amicable relationship. Both the candidates have impressed me with their decorum with each other. If only our national and state politicians would behave the same. Lastly, before we start, we take pride in our local chapter, and we want our candidates to feel as comfortable as possible and to feel that we are being fair. That being said, Nathan, you have agreed to go first. So let's hear who you are and what you're about.
Thank you so much. I truly appreciate the warm welcome, and also thank you to Indivisible, and thank you to everyone who joined the forum tonight. My name is Nathan Norman, and I'm running for District 2 trustee. I am a man of faith. I'm a husband. I'm also an individual who is a proud second district resident. I've lived in Skokie for a decade. Although I was born and raised in Evanston, Illinois, my wife and I, when it came time to purchase our home, we chose Skokie. Growing up, I went to Walker Elementary School. My son's a proud graduate of Niles North High School. We love this community. It's a community that we're proud to call home. In addition to that, I serve currently as the Economic Development Commissioner for the village of Skokie, where I am tasked with, continuing to find viable ways to explore economic development opportunities for the village. I really love this work. I love working with my colleagues, finding equitable solutions that benefits our village. Thusly, I've also led a successful career in public service for over 13 years, where I worked in both local and state government, in everything from youth development and violence prevention to workforce development, to working with city staff to come up with viable solutions for economic sustainability plans and so forth. I'm also a proud graduate of Northwestern University, where I received my master's degree in public policy and administration. I think that not only my lived experience, but also my professional experience has prepared me for this role. And again, it's an honor and a privilege to be in community with you all tonight. And last but certainly not least, I'd like to thank Alison Pure-Slovin, the alternative candidate, for appearing tonight. And as I've always told you, Alison, I really appreciate how graceful you are and how well you treated me. And I love your profile picture, by the way.
Alison?
Thank you. Let me begin by thanking my opponent, Nathan Norman. It's been a delightful process with you. It's been wonderful getting to know you. And as we said the last time we were together, it's more difficult because we really like each other. But thank you, everybody, for the opportunity. I want to thank Indivisible for putting this forum together. It's important to try to meet the candidates and try to making an informed decision. And it's a tough decision. And I think Nathan and I both recognize that, and which is why we appreciate that people take the time to get more educated on who we are. I am a Skokie resident. I have been a Skokie resident for 14 years now. My husband, may he rest in peace, I am a widow. And I moved here to open a small business, EJ's Pizzeria on Grosse Pointe Road. We moved here, as I said, because of the business. We also wanted to retire here together at some point in our lives. I love Skokie. I can't say we anymore. I'm sorry. I love Skokie greatly, and being a trustee these last 4 years has been an extraordinary journey for me, and it really works with and defines who I am in my professional career. Is I work for an organization. It's a international human rights organization. And one of the things that we do is that we believe in building bridges between communities. And so when the opportunity to run for trustee came up, that's why I chose to serve on the local level, the community, because I think the residents and where I live is essential to who I am and everything that I do. I have the pleasure of serving with Nathan on the Economic Development Committee. As he said, we both feel very strongly that economic development is essential and a key component to what goes on in the village. But in addition to that, I also serve on the Public Safety Committee, because that commission is important to me as well, because we have to ensure that this is a safe community for all of our residents. And I think that, you know, being a village board elected official has significant responsibilities. We have responsibilities to fiscal policy and the handling of taxpayer dollars. We have to monitor government spending and revenue collection, ensuring transparency and accountability. And it's imperative that we review the village's budget, ensure that taxpayer dollars are allocated efficiently to meet the community needs. It's important that we continue to develop and implement policies that influence economic conditions so that we can foster a prosperous community. And that's what I would like to believe that we have been doing in the past and would like to continue going forward, which is why I've elected to run for District 2 so that I can continue on this path for the next 2 years.
Thank you. And
Thank
so, were you finished? Did I interrupt you, Allison?
No, thank you.
Oh, okay.
I was just saying thank you.
Okay. Since Nathan went first, I'll ask you the first question, and you might have just answered it, but my first question was that
I think you just froze.
Yeah, I think so.
You're frozen.
please.
Can you start the question again because you froze?
Oh, it was me? I thought it was you. It says my internet connection is unstable. Okay, so I might have answered this, you might have answered this question already. But you've been trustee for 4 years. Why are you seeking re-election?
Oh, sorry. The question was for me. I apologize. I didn't know who was going to. Yes. I am seeking re-election because I believe that we need to continue the work. I have enjoyed meeting the residents of Skokie. I have a very solid lens on the needs of the community. In addition to that, after having been involved with the budgetary process for 4 years, I feel like I have a greater understanding of our budget and a good relationship with the people who work within the village, and that it's a career path that has worked for me in serving the people and the residents of Skokie. And most importantly, I'd like to continue the work.
Thank you. It's a giant of a budget. I know I've been there. It takes years to kind of get the hang of it. I get it. Nathan, what qualifies you for your position as trustee, and why are you running for trustee?
Thank you for the question. I think that what qualifies me is my over a decade experience in municipal government, but I wouldn't just stop it right there and say stop at my experience, right? Because I would say also, in addition to that, during my tenure in government, I've worked under 3 mayors. I worked successfully with city staff and state staff. I worked collaboratively at IDHS at the state level across an organization that had 14,000 employees, to lead strategic efforts and collaborative efforts that really impact the aggregate. I'm a true champion of advancing the public's interest. I've done that. I've made a career out of that, and I've done it successfully. When it comes to community violence, when it comes to workforce development, when it comes to youth development, I've led successful initiatives. Again, I was on the mayor's task force for reimagining public safety. And as I stated, I currently serve as an economic development commissioner. So I believe that not only my dedication to public service, but also my lived and professional experience really qualified me for this work. And last but certainly not least, I'm extremely passionate about the folks in Skokie. I'm extremely passionate about making sure that they're heard and acknowledged. And that's something that I really want to reestablish at the dais at the village of Skokie. Thank you.
Thanks. That's something we all have in common, as well as on the liaison for the Public Safety Committee as well. Anyway, so this question I've asked at each Q&A. I'm on the Board of the Citizens for Ethical Campaigns. It's a nonpartisan organization. We sent out letters to every candidate to sign the Code of Fair Campaign Practices. I'm asking both of you, just yes or no, have you signed the Code of Campaign Practices? And if so, will you correct the record if a secondary source put out misinformation about your opponent? Nathan, sorry.
Oh, no worries. Thank you so much. I was unsure who received the question first. But first and foremost, if I receive, yes, I have signed it. I have signed the pledge, first and foremost. But secondly, if I heard anyone speak ill of Ms. Pure-Slovin, I would ecstatically disagree. And I would definitely not engage in that. And also, I took the ethics pledge because I believe in public service. I believe that public service is a privilege. It's something that comes with great responsibility, integrity, accountability, and transparency. And these things are, I believe, the foundation of good governance. And by committing to the ethical pledge, I just feel as though that was something that I hold innately. And I would definitely only engage in honesty and fairness because, as I stated, I'm a man of integrity, and I promise to always just uphold that and put it before any political gain or anything like that. So absolutely.
Thank you for that, Allison.
Yes, and first of all, please feel free to call me Allison. I'm very
Sure.
comfortable with that. Thank you for being so polite.
Yeah.
I also signed the ethical pledge and have no issue signing it because I also believe in transparency and accountability. In addition to that, full disclosure, I am a registered lobbyist in the state of Illinois because I do work in Springfield. And with it, you have to go through a lot of ethical training, and you have to sign off to the state on your ethical behavior. So I'm well aware of what governance should be. I'm well aware of how we should conduct ourselves. And I'd like to say it goes without having to be said, but I would never say anything disparagingly against Nathan Norman. And if I heard anybody say anything against him, I would definitely stand up for his rights. As you said in the beginning, the two of us have a great deal of respect for each other, and I expect anybody who's running in any position or in any job to always give respect to somebody else, that this isn't what it is about, but transparency, integrity is the most important thing in the world to me. I cannot guarantee my health or my wealth, but my integrity is mine to hold on to, and that's how I look at ethical behavior. So there would be no issues that I would stand up for my opponent.
I love both of your answers from both of you. Incidentally, if you filed, our letter asked you to both, to all the candidates to file with the Board of Ethics, Board of Elections, or with our website. And some people went to the village clerk, and I went there today to get a copy of that, and I need to FOIA in order to get it. So if either of you did that, or anybody who watches this later, please send us the pledge so that we can publicize it on our website, and you can publicize it on your media pages as well. That's something to be proud of, I think, anyway.
Absolutely.
I'm going to go to the next question, and I think this is kind of interesting question. If you received a grant for a substantial amount of money, let's say you received a grant for a couple $1 million, what would be your number choice place of where you would invest in our village? I think you're up first, Alison.
Thank you. If we received a grant money for the village, where I would like to invest it in would be to rehab our existing housing stock for affordable housing. Which is why I've been an advocate for fee in lieu of, because it's an excellent financial mechanism to manage the impact of our developments here. And the fees or the grants specifically, can be used to enhance our housing stock, support our affordable housing initiative, but it also then can help in our public infrastructure and of course, any other community projects that we think are valuable to the residents and citizens of Skokie.
Nathan?
Yes, I would. One of the first things that I would prioritize is economic mobility by investing in career training programs, small business support. I think it's extremely important to make it easier and reduce barriers for small businesses to procure and do business with the village. I'd also take a dig at creating clear pathways to good paying jobs that strengthen Skokie's economic future. One of the things I would do as well is take a look at some of the projects around town or some of the vacancies around town and see how we could work to revitalize those vacancies or place businesses in the corridors such as Oakton, Dempster, Main Street, and so forth. So I'd really dig into how we could revitalize spaces in Skokie and stand up more businesses like Sketchbook and so forth. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to start with you, Nathan, on the next question. Old Orchard has been designated a blighted area. What are your opinions about that?
So the designation, excuse me, of Old Orchard as a blighted area is a complicated issue. And while
I asked it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. And while I do understand the need for economic incentives to revitalize and modernize the mall, I truly don't condone, or I don't like corporate welfare, if you will. I believe we must ensure that TIF funds and funding is used responsibly, and that Skokie's residents see clear benefits from the investments we make. I also think we must prioritize community input and ensure that any developments or align with the broader needs of Skokie. Again, such as job creation, local business support, and also public infrastructure improvements. So I really I do understand that again, that Old Orchard is a great economic engine for Skokie. 70% of the village's revenue, I believe, comes from sales tax and also property tax. But I don't think we should put all our eggs in one basket. We have other businesses that we can focus on as well. Thank you.
Thanks, Allison.
Thank you for the question. Economic incentives are very important to the village. And Old Orchard, as Nathan said, has been one of the best economic developments for the village, which has ensured that we can keep our Skokie taxes, have been raised in 30 years. So the fact that we've invested, so to speak, in Old Orchard allows people to come into the village to spend money, and that helps the residents and the citizens. That helps us use the money to create a better infrastructure within the village, and also so that we can do some other economic development within the village, like the Main Street corridor, which is a very important building development that's going to happen within the village. And so I think that the investment in Old Orchard has given us a great return for the citizens and residents of Skokie.
Thanks. So I might ask one or two more questions, and hopefully there's questions in the chat. I don't want to monopolize all the questions, and this is another tough question, and I'll follow up by an easier question. Considering our immigration system right now, we have a the village is a sanctuary village or city. How do you feel about that, Allison? Would you promote that continuing?
So we are a welcoming community, and I absolutely 1000% promote it and agree with it. And we're strengthening it. Hopefully at the next board meeting, it will be coming up at the village board meeting, our position on that. Our police will not cooperate with anybody from ICE or federal if they come in to arrest somebody. And we need to continue to be a welcoming community and village to our immigrants, and we would like that to continue. Obviously, if someone's being arrested because of a violent crime, then the Skokie police do have to assist with the arrest. But that's, an unusual situation that we don't predict is going to happen. But I would not change anything about what we do, except to strengthen, to ensure residents that we want them as part of our community, and that we will help protect them.
Thank you. I'm trying to mute it because my dogs are chewing on bones. They're being very loud. I don't know if you can hear it. So I apologize. Okay, good. Nathan, same question.
Thank you so much. I have to say I strongly support Skokie's commitment to being an inclusive and welcoming community for all residents, regardless of the immigration status. 40% of people who call Skokie home were born outside the U.S. So again, I strongly support that. Skokie, in addition to that, Skokie has a rich history of diversity and maintaining welcoming policies that ensure that all individuals feel safe and engaged in the community, with local services, as it relates to local services, law enforcement, and schools, without fear of discrimination or deportation. So I feel strong about that, and I believe that a strong and united community benefits everyone. And so I would welcome the opportunity to continue to work collaboratively with the village board to ensure that we continue to uphold our welcoming policies. You're muted.
Guilty of muting. So this may be a little bit of a lighter question, I think. But what's the best advice, Nathan, that you've ever received, and maybe the worst advice?
Worst. The best advice that I ever received was to treat other people how you like to be treated. I think that's the best advice I've ever received, because when you operate from that sort of lens, what you want for other people, what you want for yourself, you want it for the next person as well. So I think that is hands down the best advice that I ever received. And I think it encompasses so much when you get a little granular. The worst advice that I ever received is that to think I guess the worst advice I ever received, that's a hard one because I received a lot of bad advice over my 41 years. But I think the worst advice is to not be inclusive and not to collaborate or not to strike beyond your own base. So I guess it's the antithesis of what I just stated, but I think that the worst advice is to operate from a individualistic mentality or from an individualistic base. I think that's the worst advice. Thank you.
Thank you. Allison, what's yours?
Thank you. It's a great question. I think that the best advice anyone ever gave me was to remember that we live in a diverse village, which is somewhat segregated. And it's our job as a trustee to work towards bringing communities together and to remember that as a trustee, we represent all people. I don't know if I've ever gotten worse advice. I think it would just be the opposite of how I try to conduct my daily life, and to remember that everything that I do is not about me, and it's about serving the community, the people who I care about, and the world's just greater than I am. And I hope that I live my life that way. I know that's not exactly bad advice, but it's trying to tell you from the lens of how I try to think on a daily basis.
Thank you. Okay, let me see. One last question from me. Let me think. Sorry. So you're working with how would you involve the community as a trustee and work with the new trustees and new people that are coming up on the board? How would you handle disagreements and things like that?
Goes first. Is it my turn, I think?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I don't remember. Well, I guess I answered last, so it's mine first.
Okay.
Repeat the first part of the question. I remember the second part. I'm sorry.
How would you have the community be more involved in participating with the decisions of the village? And there are new people obviously with this election coming on. How would you get along with people that you have disagreements with?
First of all, I always will agree to disagree. It is absolutely anybody's right to disagree with my position or a position that I might take on the village board. Also, a position that I have taken on the village board is after weighing out other people and other residents' suggestions, because again, this isn't my opinion that has to come into making the decision. I have voted against things. I have voted against the mayor because I feel that I'm representing other people. But in terms of getting people more involved, etc., I think the first thing that the trustees have to do, the new board, is to get to know each other, find a working relationship within ourselves. The second thing that I think is essential to this job is that we need to do coffees within the community. When the village trustees that are serving right now started, it was COVID. We didn't have that opportunity to get out there together as a unified group to speak with residents. I feel that that was greatly missing. And I learned after this round, especially now that we are COVID, well, hopefully not COVID free, but not as sensitive about COVID and can meet with people, the knocking on the doors, the shaking the hands, the going to events at people's homes, the coffees has been an incredible experience, because I've met so many different people that I wouldn't have had the opportunity in the past, and to hear their concerns. And I think that that's the most important thing that trustees or anybody serving the village should do.
Thanks. Go ahead, Nathan.
Thank you so much. So community engagement and transparency are paramount to me. I believe that creating more opportunities for residents to have a voice in local government through participatory processes, community forums, or on our advisory councils, I think are ways that I would provide inclusiveness. In addition, I believe in active and inclusive civic engagement. To some ways that I would work with the board to involve residents I would hold regular District 2 meetings and listening sessions for open dialogue between myself and the community. I would do something like that on a monthly or bi-monthly basis. I would expand digital engagement through my social media and through other interactive online forums. I would establish a resident advisory board to provide some sort of feedback loop that would help us to, as a board, to decide or provide perspective on policies and projects. I believe wholeheartedly that when residents are part of the process, we build stronger policies and a more connected community. I often say this, and it's true, those that are most proximate to the problem are most proximate to the solution. And that's one of the things that I want to bring to the village board.
Thanks. So that's enough of my questioning. I think we should open it up to the chat. Judy Aronson, take it away.
Okay, we're going to continue with what we've been doing, which is I ask the questions in the order that they're in the chat, and that way I don't lose any of them. And the one difference is that I am going to announce whose names are in there, because as we've learned, the chat doesn't follow the video, and that way people will know where these questions have come from. So the first question is from Kimberly Polka, and the question is, what are your thoughts about the legal department's active involvement in local politics? How does that impact our village? And do you believe that the corporate council should be required to be unequivocally nonpartisan when it comes to Skokie politics, such as in the case with the village manager? To be clear, I realize the clause was at the request of the current village manager. I'm asking if you think this should be a requirement for the manager, if this should be a requirement for the manager and corporate council in our village. And I believe Nathan answered the last one last, so he goes first.
Thank you so much for the question. I'll just be quite frank and firm. I think that that's a conflict of interest. And I do agree that the legal counsel should be held to the highest standard. And I believe, just quite frankly, and I'll just say it plainly, I believe that's a conflict of interest, and that should change. And if I'm elected, we're gonna make sure that the board is adhering to all policies and procedures. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Alison, you're up.
Thank you. So, as stated in the question, the village manager chose to put in his clause that he would not get involved in any politics in the village. Regarding the legal counsel, whoever our legal counsel is, who works for the village, when they are not in the offices or in the city hall of the village and it's after hours, I believe they absolutely have the right to be involved in any party or election that they would like to be, as guaranteed by the Constitution of the United States of America. So if they are involved in a presidential race as a Republican, Democrat, Independent, it doesn't really make a difference, but we cannot tell somebody who or what who they could vote for. I think that's taking away their citizenship. I think that's taking away their right to vote, their right to a voice. And so it doesn't change, I think, in the Skokie politics as well, as long as they're not campaigning or working within the village hall, which is completely illegal. There's no reason the village council or anybody else who works in staff in the village can't be involved in a partisan or election.
Okay, thank you. The next question is from Diana Rumsley. And excuse me if I mispronounce anybody's name. How will you balance the needs of your district with the needs of the village as a whole? And this one would go to you first, Allison.
I'm gonna stop muting, sorry. Okay, the balance of the needs of the district with the needs of the village as a whole, honestly, if elected in District 2, I believe that we still have to look at the totality of the village. I think that it's very important, that the districts don't look at themselves as fighting for their little kingdom, so to speak, because we have to look at the big picture. The budget that is outlined, as Ilanka said, which is massive, is for the entire village. And when we're working together, we should, yes, represent our district, but we have to look at the total picture for the village of Skokie.
Okay, Nathan. Oh, thank you, Allison.
Thank you.
Nathan.
Thank you. So as I stated previously, you know, I'm abreast to working across departments, across large organizations, and that won't change if I'm elected to the village board. And I say that because while District 2 is unique, and we definitely have uniqueness in different in terms of the other districts, and I believe that District 2 is the largest district, as a matter of fact. However, I think working collaboratively, because we all have a vested interest as Skokie residents, I would continue to work collaboratively with my colleagues to see where we can find intersections, where we can explore opportunities to not only collaborate, but to create synergy, but also to really address the holistic needs of all Skokie residents, as well as addressing those unique needs for District 2 residents as well.
Okay, thank you very much. The next question is from Robert Cusell, and he starts with a statement, and he says, one of the trustee candidates from another district made this comment at a forum over the weekend. I'm paraphrasing. She said, drive up and down Oakton, Main and Dempster, and you'll see where the village stops caring. Does she have a point? And this one goes to you first, Nathan.
I think that she does that participant that the person that made that statement, that resident, does have a point. I think that we have our current board has had a focus primarily on Old Orchard, and as a result, we see stagnation. We see you know, quite frankly, neglect in other areas of Skokie. And I think that we have to pick up the ball where they've dropped it and really revitalize those corridors, really shift focus, and make sure that we're doing our best to revitalize those areas that also need attention. And so I think that resident has a great point. And I would like to work with individuals that have that perspective to see where we can create synergy, where we can work with those residents to address those issues that they see. So definitely a point, a good point, and we're going to have to collaborate to fix it.
Okay, thank you. Allison, how about you?
Thank you. This is one of the times I'm going to disagree with my opponent with a great deal of respect. And that is that if you listen to the board meetings, or if you're in the Economic Development Commission, know that we're very concerned about the development of Oakton, Main, and Dempster. Maine right now, as we know, is going to have a revitalization, which we're very excited about. Oakton, from the downtown area, that we've been working very hard to ensure that we have more businesses coming in. And then from the Dempster Street, between McCormick to Crawford, I would suggest, I've been on record as saying that this is another area that we need to look at in terms of development. So I don't believe that it's gone on deaf ears with the trustees, the current board, or the Economic Development Committee. And that's why they're working very hard to incentivize other businesses to come into Skokie. And on Dempster, between Crawford to Skokie, further back, even almost to the expressway, but you see that there are new businesses. We have the new Dunkin' Donuts, we have a new coffee house next door in that shopping mall, Grosse Pointe to Dempster. So I think everybody's working really hard to ensure that we are developing the different areas of the village.
Okay, thank you. Okay, and from Alana Jacobs. One of the school districts that you oversee is District 68, Old Orchard Junior High. There is a lot of fear and cruelty playing out at school board meetings that is abusive towards neighbors. How will you work to bring neighbors together to promote empathetic, brilliant future leaders? And this one goes to you first, Alison.
So I appreciate the question, because not only in the school districts are we seeing cruelty being played out in the board meetings and abusive behavior toward candidates and neighbors, but we're also seeing abusive behavior to candidates who are running for a mayor, trustee, other village positions, clerk. It never is acceptable. I don't ever accept the cruelty against other people. And I think that we do need to work on bringing communities together. And I think that that's why both, don't mean to speak for you, Nathan, I'm sorry, but I think that is why both of us have said that coffees and times together in the community is essential, so that, you know, diverse communities meet each other, so that we're on an even playing field. But bad politics in this country is, you know, risen, unfortunately, greatly. And unfortunately, we're seeing it in many situations in the village as well. And I just find it unacceptable. And if we could do more meetings at, let's say, the Skokie Library, et cetera, to give people an opportunity so that we can come together and celebrate our similarities and understand our differences. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Nathan.
Thank you so much. So in my experience, I'm a certified Kingian nonviolence trainer. And one of the things I've done is I've worked with School District 202, District 65, even 219 to an extent when my son was a student there, to curb violence and to prevent conflict and to institute conflict resolution strategies. And so for me, I would like to go to the board meeting. I would like to go to the school and have conversation with constituents and work actively to develop some resolution to what's going on. First, we need to figure out what is the root of the issue, what's the root cause of what is causing this conflict, and then work both collaboratively with both sides. And as Alison just indicated, holding these community forums where individuals could really voice their issues and then actively work with residents on finding common ground and commonality and solutions. It's something that I would like to do, but I want to get in the trenches. I would like to get actively involved so that they can know that they have support from their village board to work towards a solution of peace.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, next question. From Robert Cusel again. How might we improve the process of, oh, wait, it moved, sorry. How might we improve the process of appointing commissioners? Is our current system of mayoral appointments confirmed by the board sufficient? Nathan, you're up on this one first.
So thank you so much for the question. I was appointed Economic Development Commissioner by Mayor Van Dusen, and it was a meeting. I think the mayor listened to some of my recommendations. He considered my background in both workforce development and economic development, and shortly thereafter, he appointed me. However, as trustee, I would like to work with the board and with village staff to make sure that we're doing our due diligence to make sure that the process is more equitable, and that folks are acknowledged and they're aware of when openings occur, right? So that we're communicating that out to the public, what boards or committees have openings, and then we would refine a true process of folks to gauge qualifications and to also gauge interest, because I believe that so many of our community members have have contributions and have valuable contributions to our committees and boards, and we want to exploit that, right? And so I would be open to working with staff and working with the board to refine the process so that it's equitable and inclusive, and folks feel like they could that folks aren't selected based off any other criteria than their qualifications. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And Alison?
Thank you. I would love to see more residents serve on commissions. I think that unfortunately, there's not enough information about what that means. I think that if we did an education reach out to the village residents to explain to them what commissions are, and that their applications available, I think that only people who are really paying attention to the politics or the policies of Skokie, which unfortunately, as we know, is not the majority of our residents, then we would have an opportunity to see additional qualified people apply to be part of the process. I don't have a problem with the people being interviewed by the mayor and the mayor making recommendations. I think the larger issue is that we just don't get enough people who are applying to be part of a commission, and that's the strength that we need to do is educate residents on how to get involved in our commissions and in our village. Thank you.
Okay, one moment, please. Okay, next question from Kimberly Polka. And it's a question, sort of, is what she says. Can you please clarify, confirm that there is no actual plan for Main Street, but a vision with no actual plan, timeline, or promises of any development? Alison, this would go to you first.
Thank you. So the Main Street Commercial Corridor Study was brought before the Village Board on December 2nd of 2024. And it identified the mid and long-term actions to bring a vision block by block. We are implementing already streetscape improvements, including beautifying the median and adding on the bike lanes. We've secured a $600,000 grant from the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity to support early work to implement the study. We also immediately put the study into action by advancing plans to purchase a vacant building at 4501 Main Street. On a short-term basis, the property will be utilized for events and activities by the Fine Arts Commission and Economic Vitality offices. And on the long-term basis, the study calls for the property to be part of the redevelopment of the Main Street corridor. So there's small things that are going to be happening short-term, and long-term it will continue as well. But it's not just what was the word you used? I'm so sorry. A vision, but it's something that's starting in stages, and we're beginning the implementation of the plan or the study. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Nathan?
Yes, I would have to concur with Alison on this, as she's my colleague on the Economic Development Committee. I do believe that the village is actively trying to implement strategies and so forth for the vision to come to life on Main Street.
Okay. Alison, this one is directed to you from Judy Mendel. And it's actually an organization that I was hoping to get the organization faster to see if I knew it, but I don't. It says, what are the green signs all over District 2 about? Why are schools in jeopardy, etc.? I'm asking you because a Jewish organization's name is on them, and the organization is Agudat Yisrael.
I will not really be able to answer it because I'm not part of the Aguda Israel. I have also seen the green signs. They were new to me as well. The intent is to encourage people to get out and vote. I cannot speak to why the schools are in jeopardy. I have not spoken to the Aguda to find out why they feel that way. This is not something that has come to my attention in any way, shape, or form. The only thing I could suggest, and I really want to make sure people are understanding, I am suggesting that people might feel that the schools are in jeopardy. I don't know if they mean the schools per se, but if they're referring to how Jewish students are feeling in some schools because of anti-Semitism. But again, I don't know this factually. I am not part of Aguda Yisrael. Nobody called me. I don't know what they're referring to. So I don't feel that I'm qualified to fully answer that question appropriately.
Okay, so it's 8:25 and I promised the
Excuse-
candidates it wouldn't go more than an hour.
Excuse me, may
Oh,
I
Sure.
add
Absolutely.
a comment? Thank you so much. So thank you for that. I must say that I disagree with that position. I think that the green signs are not only a microaggression, but they have a very racist undertone. I think that those signs alone stir fear in our community, and I think that and the signs are only set in certain areas that coincide with other signs, and so I think that whoever is whoever's put these signs out in our community, I think that their whole mission, their whole motive is to uh you know d- it incenses me, so excuse me, pardon me, because I was very disturbed by when my wife and when I read these signs and when constituents come up to me and tell me about these signs, because it's very again, I think it has a racist undertone, and it's something that not only myself but other people in my community really don't appreciate. And it incenses me, because I just never thought that I would see something like that. So I would have been remiss if I had not said that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the comments. Should we wrap it up now? And if so, I think, Scott, take it away. You're, gonna do closing. Oh, I'm sorry. I totally was remiss on the closing statements. I was going right to the announcements for what's coming next. So, I think Nathan, you went first last time. Maybe Allison can go first on closing statements.
Thank you. I really appreciate this opportunity to speak with everybody and to meet with you. I really think that I'm hoping that you understand that I would like to continue in my journey as a trustee, this time in District 2, because I would believe that I've been a successful trustee because I try to leave a positive and lasting impact on the village. It's very important that we improve the community's overall well-being and, set the stage for continued growth. I want to be fiscally responsible. We have to continue managing the budget for the village. Clearly, we learned we have to take a stronger look at infrastructure improvements. We need to review our current structure, as unfortunately evidenced by the recent water main break. And, community engagement and the opinions of the community are paramount to me and what I believe in, because I do believe that I represent the voices of a diverse group of people. And when I hear the comments, I need to weigh them out and try to represent the differing opinions and the different lens with my best knowledge, and to ensure that we're making the correct decisions for the village of Skokie. So as somebody who has been involved in the village now for 4 years, I feel that I am bringing a important, what's the word I want? I'm bringing wow, why did I lose a word? I'm sorry. I'm bringing having I don't know why I just lost my train of thought. That was embarrassing. Sorry. Important, as I said, the most important thing to me is to continue to serve the village and to ensure that we have a fiscally sound budget and that we take the needs of the residents into account. And I apologize that I went silent there for a moment. Thank you.
No worries, happens to me all the time.
Ooh.
I have ADHD. So,
Thank you.
squirrel. Shiny object. No, understandable. I do that all the time.
Thank you.
Nathan?
Thank you so much, and thank you all once more for attending. I think that in public administration, you learn that the three biggest threats to success are the path to least resistance, learned helplessness, and the status quo. And I think the current board is guilty of, if not all three, definitely two. I think that the village of Skokie in its entirety, and I think District 2 as well, is ready for some significant change. I think we're ready for a board that wants to collaborate. We're ready for a board that wants to invite in perspective from the community. I think the village of Skokie, particularly District 2, is ready to get actively involved and be welcome to be actively involved in their community and in the decision-making process. And I can assure you that if elected District 2 trustee, we will do just that. We will collaborate. We'll have open communication and transparency. And as I indicated, these things are paramount to me. And they're just not paramount because I'm running, but these things have been paramount for the last 13 plus years as I've led a successful career in public service. I'm dedicated and committed to this community, and I look forward to furthering our work and really getting things done and providing the equitable change that this village deserves. Thank you so much. I appreciate Indivisible. I appreciate all of your time and attention. Thank you so much to Trustee Alison Pure-Slovin. I appreciate you as well. And I hope you all have a great and wonderful evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
both
Thank you
so
again
much.
for the opportunity. We really appreciate it.
No,
Thank you.
I'm thanking you guys for coming on, and it's better than I thought it was gonna be. So anyway, we have Scott to wrap up with coming events. It'll just take a couple minutes if you could stay on just to see what we're doing on Indivisible. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you all for attending tonight. We do have some announcements. Tomorrow, Wednesday, March 12th at 8 p.m. we have a Q&M for the Morton Grove Library. The candidates at hand are Mohammed and Kim, and I apologize, I don't have last names. But we could go to ISML Facebook for further information as well. On Friday and every Friday from 7:30 to 9-ish, join us for our happy unhappy hour where we vent our national frustrations. So grab yourselves a beverage of your choice or not and join us. It'd be great to have you. This Sunday, March 16th from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. join us at Sketchbook in Skokie. We're having a pizza party. There'll be free pizza from 4 to 6. Will be a cash bar though, so beverages you pay for, but we hope to see you there. We'd really like to have the opportunity to meet the people that we interact with somehow on everyday level. So hopefully you can make that.
Yep. I agree.
We also have a potential Q&A for Wednesday, 3/19 at a time to be determined. This would be for the District 1 trustee. Again, this is to be determined, and further info to follow on the ISML Facebook page. And we're really, really excited to announce that we're moving up here in the world with a web page that we're going to be launching sometime next week. And again, we could refer to ISML Facebook page for references on when the launch date is and how to access that, which will be used for a wealth of information and events that are going on with ISML and just Indivisible and Genry and other groups as well. Last, I understand that there may have been some sort of a incorrect date issued from the village clerk's office. Alana, was that for the registration or for the?
It's for early voting, and I'm just concerned, and I'm glad you brought it up, Scott. I'm just concerned that people will get misinformation about
Exactly.
early voting. There was an error about needing an ID or needing to have the registration affirmed, and received in the mail, and that's not true. So I encourage you all to look at the early voting information that's going on. Early voting usually requires an ID, and regular voting does not. But just because in early voting, you can vote anywhere. And so, Scott, why don't you tell us about where the early voting places are?
I
Oh, there he
did.
goes, Mohammed Azam Hussein and Kim Molodowski is tomorrow night. Thank you, Alana.
And I will have to have that posted.
Okay, so early voting in Skokie is at the courthouse. Early voting starts March 17th, up until March 31st, and April 1st is the elections. It's at the courthouse and at Oakton. I think Lincolnwood does not have an early voting place. It's also at the courthouse and at Oakton Community College. In Morton Grove, I think Judy sent me the address of where that's at. Judy.
6140 Dempster. It's in the
The-
American Legion, where it always is.
Thank you. So that's early voting there.
Can I
Please vote.
also interrupt you? I'm sorry. There's early
Absolutely.
voting in Skokie, also at Oakton College.
Yeah, well,
There's
yeah,
two
yeah.
sites for Skokie, Oakton College and the Skokie Courthouse.
I thought I said that, but okay, thank you.
If you did, I didn't hear you.
That's
so I
okay.
apologize.
That's okay. Yes, Oakton, it's actually more popular, I think, the Oakton. I voted Oakton, so.
Can I clarify about courthouse and Oakton?
Sure.
I'm really excited that there's Oakton Community College. So my wife works at the courthouse and we vote together, and I love that. And with the courthouse, you have to go through security, and the parking is a little bit more
That's why I don't go there.
complicated. So just to know that. So I would definitely go for Oakton Community College, where there's a little bit easier parking and there's less you don't have to go through security. So
Yeah.
that just
Us lawyers don't like going into the courthouse too, as much as we don't want to be there. So I would agree, it's a little bit difficult, more difficult to be there. And I like Oakton as well. So, all right, well, anything else, Scott?
That concludes our announcements. For
A
this
happy
week.
hour, unhappy hours Friday at 7:30.
Did
We
you
have
mention,
that every Friday.
did you
and
mention the book club?
Oh, we did not. Thank you, Judy. So unhappy happy hour is 7:30 on every Friday, and we just kind of vent our frustrations with what's going on in our country. And we are starting a book club. Judy, do you want to talk about it?
The book club is going to be starting on Sunday, March the 23rd, and I don't remember what time, but we're
don't think
going
we
to be
set that yet.
reading.
In the
Okay,
evening.
it's going to be in the evenings, and we're going to be reading On Tyranny by, I forget his name,
Tim
Timothy
Snyder.
and booked in Evanston which is a nice small individually owned bookstore, does still have some copies of it available. And she was very nice. I know she's holding a copy for me to pick up on Saturday. And this is going to be our first try at it, and we're going to be reading books and articles and different things about how to fight back, so that we're not just doing this without any education. And
Sure.
I haven't even told Lonnie this yet, but I got myself onto the communications committee for the state for Illinois, for Indivisible Illinois. And so we will have access to what's going on statewide
Wonderful. Thank you,
earlier.
Judy. Thank you. So it's not really a book club, by the way, it's a book study. So it's
Yeah.
reading the book, how it applies to current day events and how we can rectify it if we can. That being said, we'll close out because we're 9 minutes over.
Yeah, Tess did bring up something important though.
Yeah, thank you.
That,
Yeah.
that the ranked choice voting will be on the Skokie ballot.
Thank you. That concludes today's Q&A. I hope everyone felt good about their performance. I think you both did great, and I thank you so much for attending. Thanks a lot. Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you. Don't
so
forget to
much.
vote.
Great evening.
Yes, don't forget to vote March
Vote.
17th.
Thank you. Nice
Grateful
to
for
see you, Nathan.
You as well.
Thanks.
You
All the
put that
best.
profile pic back up, please.
Oh, we're getting somebody entering the room now.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.